All right, Texas Republicans unveiled their new proposed congressional map yesterday as a redistricting battle heats up really across the country. Now, this new map would create 5 House seats that President Trump won by double digits back in November. The president urged this redistricting push in Texas to protect the GOP's narrow House majority ahead of next year's midterms. CBS News political reporter Hunter Woodall joins us now from Washington with more on what's happening here. Good morning to you, Hunter. So what is the president's strategy, I guess, to get more seats, but could that backfire?
Good morning, Errol. When you look at this push by President Trump and Republican allies, it's important to remember currently Republicans hold just a 3-seat majority in the House of Representatives, and Democrats widely view the House as their best chance to win back power during the final 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency. So given this potential redraw in Texas that could, flip 5 blue Democratic seats to Republican control, that could very much help Republicans' chances at keeping the House in next year's midterms. But there's nothing to say that some of these seats, as I've talked to some Democrats about, could actually be competitive for Democrats. There's no guarantee that all 5 of these could actually flip to GOP control if this map is eventually what passes.
And a natural question is, what can Democrats do? We know House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is meeting with Democrats in Texas today. What might his messaging be?
And that is the notable thing here. Democrats are fairly limited in what they can do in Texas. Like you said, Democratic leader Jeffries is in Texas. He is very much, raising the alarm about what he sees in Texas, what is happening, as well as many of the Democratic allies that are looking for Democrats to win back the House in 2026. But Texas, again, is not a place where they can really do much to stop this. What they can do, and what you're already seeing, is potential repercussions in states like California, where Democrats are in control, and they're talking about potentially redrawing maps in California and taking Republican seats and trying to make them more winnable for Democrats. But again, this is difficult. California is a more difficult proposition to change seats than what's happening in Texas right now. And as this back and forth goes on, there's nothing to say that some of this could get immersed in court challenges and really become a problem for the next year.
Now, Hunter, our viewers who took their civics classes will remember that this sounds like gerrymandering, which I thought was a bad thing, where instead of people choosing their elected politicians, the elected politicians are choosing their people. Is that just becoming more common in America or not?
Errol, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it's important to remember, and very much for our viewers at home, both Republican states and Democratic states, they do this. We look at the state of Illinois, its maps are very poorly graded, and that's a Democratic-led state. What you don't normally see is a major state like Texas redrawing its congressional maps mid-decade like this. This is usually a process that happens after the census that happens every decade. And this is that back and forth where it seems to be, it's causing pressure where if one state acts like Texas is talking about doing, California could act. Again, that's a Democratic-led state. New York could act. That's a Democratic-led state. And this back and forth really could go into a loop that absolutely changes how congressional elections happen in the more traditional sense.
All right, Hunter Woodall, an important thing for all of our viewers to keep track of. We appreciate you giving us a bit of insight on that. Thanks very much.